This,
Sorry.
you're not late.
Oh, good. Then try that.
Got it.
You're right on that.
Okay.
All right, so let's call this meeting to order then. Start out with roll call. Mr. Ron Borland,
Yes, sir.
Cicely Saputo.
Here.
Get it right.
Yes, sir.
All right. Freddie Banks.
Here.
Mark Presley. Here. And we got, Rosalie, our roads officials with us. So I guess we got a quorum. We're all here. Good. Next item then is approval of the minutes. So everyone should have a copy of the minutes in front of them. I guess it's not from the last meeting, but, it's from the October meeting.
October 24th.
I'd say. Motion by, Freddie and seconded by Mark to approve the minutes as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Changes to the agenda. Everyone should have a copy of the agenda in front of them. Anything that they'd like to change, add, or subtract? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Motion by Bert, second by Ron.
Yes, sir.
Any more discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Agenda is approved. All right. Got public hearing. Everybody that's wanting to say something is signed up, I assume. Start with old business. The old business. Seeing none, we'll move on to new business. First item under the new business is a special exemption request for a wedding venue on Templo Road. Miss Michelle Sharpley. That guy. Would you like to say something to us? Sure.
I'm Kevin.
There you are.
Yeah.
Kevin Sharp.
Gotcha.
We are looking to build a wedding venue. We've got our eyes set on that property on Temple Road. It's 22 acres. We are working with Gene Carmen on some basic floor plans now, but about a 10,000 square foot venue is what we're looking at. No more than 250 people for a wedding. Our hours of operation would be the bride's obviously getting there to get ready probably around 10 a.m. And our cutoff time for all events would be 11 p.m. Everyone off the property by midnight. Cleaned up, done, and open to any questions. This is our first time ever doing this, so we don't exactly know what you guys want to know, but we're open to any questions that you have.
So you're looking at purchasing the product?
Yes, we have a contract on it pending our approvals.
Total capacity.
No more than 250 guests at a time.
So you specify guests, would the staff and any other like caterers, stuff like that, how exactly would that?
So they would be on top of the 250. We've kind of been working with another venue. They've been super helpful with us. Their max capacity for events is 250. But they actually said last year alone, they only had 4 events that went over 200 people. So 250 would be our cap, but we don't foresee most events being anywhere near that. Typically the wedding industry right now is running between 150 and 200 is usually the max that people are having at their weddings.
Okay. So essentially the, any other non-guests would not be limited, there's no,
Correct.
Numbers to
Our
that
fire code numbers would be higher than the
Okay.
250. That would just be our max, guest count that we would allow.
understood. Okay.
So it's Mr. Jennings, a current owner of the property, or is he gonna be a business partner
No, we're buying the property.
from Mr. Jennings?
Yes.
Is it, the structure gonna be like a barn or?
So it will be a pole barn, but we're actually designing it to look a little bit more, modern, white. It will be like say like metal barn siding, but not necessarily look like a barn venue. We're trying to tap into that market that are, of brides and grooms that are not looking for barns.
Limited parking, acreage there.
Yes,
Parking,
yes,
Access in and out is pretty good, I'd say.
yes, it is very good.
No problems, not trying to find it, right? No people coming.
No, sir, we were able to find it very easily, so.
So parking like be in that field?
We will, gravel, a parking lot, and obviously have some wheelchair accessible with sidewalks. Parking that's close to the venue as well.
So how many ADA compliant parking spaces do we need?
I am not exactly sure whatever the required number would be. Jean will definitely help us with those numbers when it comes to bathrooms, accessibility, all of that kind of stuff. It'll definitely be compliant, whatever that number is.
Where you would probably situate, that's a lot of acreage, so the nearest neighborhood is kind of far away, right?
Yes. Then you want to talk about where the neighbors do say?
I mean, I think our plan is to build the venue, not immediately at the road, but, and so there is a house that sits at the right of the property. The venue would likely be on the left side if you were looking at the property. And then there's not another house behind it, and then there's the house to the left is quite a ways away. And so I think from like the building itself, like the weddings would take place in the building, so music would be contained along with it. And also like insulated, and so that the sound would not be heard by neighbors. The houses are fairly far away.
It's building new, I assume, all electrical codes, all fire codes.
Oh, yes.
All ADA codes for bathrooms.
Absolutely. Definitely no shortcuts.
When you're not having a wedding, what type of events would you be thinking about how to get?
Corporate events, corporate parties. We also are wanting to do like a small, more intimate area, still attached to the actual venue. More of like a greenhouse, so kind of windows on all sides. I'm actually a wedding photographer, so that would appeal to me, for bridal portraits and family portraits, especially in the winter when it's cold and dead outside. Somewhere that, they could rent studio space and do indoor photos during the week.
I just left from the barn on Church Street, said, I do photography.
Okay.
If he something like this.
Yes.
Not the application include a lot of that information. We're asking questions on
Yeah,
the application, someone incomplete.
I would definitely say if there is a motion today to be very specific in whatever conditions that apply.
Well, then whatever they do, they'll have to pull permits and,
Building.
and they'll also need to go. Have a site plan. So, a lot of it's possibility.
You know, there's probably a part.
We just got, word from Jean today that it perked for a 4-bedroom site, and based on the water usage, he said we would actually only need about a 2-bedroom site, so he said that we are good to go. parking.
Hard to understand how you can convert from like a 1 day over 100% usage from a 2 bedroom to like a daily, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's interesting that they would be able to do the math.
We
like that.
actually, got a water bill from the other venue that I was speaking of that has a 250, it's actually about pretty much similar in size. And we sent it to Gene to send to the, I don't know what
Sure.
they're called, the guy that does
The
the
perker.
water purchase.
Yeah.
Yes, and, so he had those numbers, to look at.
Question I'm asking you, what do we need an exemption?
The use of the property is classified as a special use in the England district and so.
So, the surrounding, so this is typically agricultural areas that the surrounding areas are. What type of considerations does there need to be for like any of the, and I don't know if there's any pesticides or any sort of things that are being sprayed on the crops that are gonna be around these people's, venues and open air aspects like that? Is there any sort of considerations that need to be paid to that aspect of it?
I don't think there's any like immediate farmland like in the properties like surrounding, something like that.
Okay.
The back side of the lots, both next to us, ours, and the one on the other side are primarily wooded.
Okay,
I would say 2/3 of the lot is wooded, the back.
that is what it looks like here. I just thought I'd ask because I didn't know what types of, like if there's any other developments around here, would this site potentially be prohibiting anybody else from doing what this general area would be utilized for? You know what I mean? I was wondering the same thing.
Is that can't be too, when we put it.
Because of the recent events, is there any need for like a storm shelters or any sort of other, you know, emergency?
What rates are from the sub 10 floor?
Sorry, yeah.
So have you talked to any of your potential neighbors? Because I know we put up a sign that said special exception.
We have not, the neighbors that are the White House immediately next to, Gene looked, and I don't believe the owners live there, I believe they rented. So we did not go over there, and I think the only neighbor that we can see are the ones across the street.
I know this area is primarily, on the other side of Temple. This vast where there has been a lot of like, home construction. So. You know, I think there's gonna be a permission.
Is there a house on this?
No, sir.
Else? Anybody has?
Is the section 8.07 that this general requirements? We had a chance to like look into that, because all I see is 8.6.
8.06, I would say. You have some comments too. Mercy. Sure. Great.
Awesome. All right, so the request in front of you again is a special exception for a wedding venue. This is not a permitted use, so therefore it has to come in front of the BZA for a special exception. The uses commonly or identified as special exceptions in the A1 zoning district include administrative services, community assembly, community education, cultural and recreational services, intermediate impact facilities, personal and group care facilities, religious facilities, animal care and veterinary services, convenience, commercial and commercial feedlots and stockyards. Based off in the application, this would not be considered a religious facility. I would most closely classify this to an intermediate impact facility. It's not specifically listed, but the BZA has the authority to permit any uses that are not listed specifically. Section 8.060 is the procedure for authorizing special exceptions by the BZA. The application is required to have information that shows the location and intended uses of the site, the names of property owners, existing land uses within 200 feet, and other material pertinent to the request, such as hours of operation, proposed building, safety and health aspects. And then in italics is the full procedure, but again, general requirements, conditional use permit should be granted, provided that this board finds it is so designed, located, and proposed to be operated so that public health, safety, and welfare will be protected, will not adversely affect their property in the area in which it is located. This is within the provision of special exceptions as set forth in this resolution, and conforms to all applicable provisions of this resolution for the district in which it is to be located, as well as the provision cited in section 8.070, and it's necessary for public convenience in the location plan. The criteria for your review, the board shall make written findings certifying that the satisfactory provisions and arrangements have been made concerning all of the following where applicable. Ingress and egress to property and proposed structures thereon, with particular reference to automotive and pedestrian safety and convenience, traffic flow and control, and access in case of fire or catastrophe. Off-street parking and loading areas were required, with a particular attention to the items in item 1 above, and the economic noise, vibrations, glare, or odor effects of the special exception on or by adjoining properties and properties generally in or near the district. Refuse and service areas with particular references to items 1 and 2 above. Utilities with reference to locations, availability, and compatibility. Screening and buffering with reference to type, dimensions, and character. Signs, if any, and proposed exterior lighting with reference to glare, traffic, safety, economic effect, and compatibility and harmony with properties in the district. Required yard and open space and other open space, and general compatibility with adjacent properties and property in the district. Restrictions in the exercise of its approval, the board may approve such conditions upon the proposed uses of buildings or land as it may deem advisable in the furtherance of general purposes of this resolution. And the validity of plans, all approved plans, conditions, restrictions, and all rules made a part of the approval of the board shall constitute certification on the part of the applicant that the proposed use shall conform to such regulations at all times. There you go.
More questions?
This body has approved several different wedding venues in the past. There's another one that's out there on these things. And not everything was said and done at that time as well, and that's when, you know, you would give variances. So I just want to remind everyone that this is not necessarily the first time that we look at moving a wedding venue. Permission is.
Grant the exception.
I'm sorry.
Been a motion that would grant the special exemption. And a second. Would you mind if I added the phrase that they have to abide by the things in planning and zoning? That probably goes without saying, but I think it will be correct.
I think it's be great, and I think we also have to come back again, but. Then we discussed it during a meeting, previous meeting that we, had, not just them, but anybody that we grant, special except has come back before. We don't,
No, that's for major, that's for major minor, home
Home
occupations.
occupations.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so. Motion by Mr. Ron, seconded by Ms. Brady to approve the special exemption for the waiting venue. With the stipulation that they comply with all the planning and zoning regulations. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Carried.
Thank you very much for your
Thank
time.
you very much. Thank you.
All right. Next item on the agenda then is for a major home occupation. And Jason and Kurt.
And that's the wedding venue.
What's that?
And another wedding venue.
Well, I cleared the room and. Another way to make it.
Competition.
It's about, we're not that competitive.
Yeah.
But they did answer most of the questions that y'all were gonna ask, so it's still, but it kind of helped us.
They're definitely smaller than they are.
But this is another wedding venue site?
Yes.
And home occupation.
And home occupation, they also live on.
Oh, okay.
So. Property, so that's another thing.
You're not familiar where Providence Road is, if you go south 141, like you're going to Lebanon, you go over the bridge, you know where Cedar Bluff is.
Oh,
So you go along Cedar Bluff and you stay on there and pass the Providence Church. And you're right there on the road, the very next one.
But this has nothing to do with them, but where is it, we're having Mullen Road.
I think.
It does have something to do with this.
Now, just to give you a little background information, they have already built this and they've been operating. They were unaware, because the counties do things differently, but they needed to come before you guys. But once they learned, oh my goodness. Already, they did
Then
everything.
we come to ask for forgiveness.
And you didn't bring chocolates?
I came straight from work.
So they.
I thought I recognized you for real.
Yes.
So what exactly? What exactly is that brought this to our attention? Was there a complaint of some sort or was anything?
No.
brought up?
Coming to get a business license.
Oh, okay.
But it's not.
All right.
So when we started out, we built it for my daughter, so we've got 4 kids, and we built it for her to have to live in. We, well, it's,
So it's cheaper to build one.
you know, we keep growing in kids, so. Yes, it was cheaper to build on it, economically, it just made sense, and then, my sister got married there, and that's friends and stuff, we married there, you know, so. It just kind of morphed into what it was, so we're smaller than that other. We're 2,700 square foot of the event space. So we tell people 150, max, sometimes it gets to maybe about 170 people at ours. It is a barn, so we're not heated and cold.
it's far in the winter time when you get with, things, space heaters and stuff. We're on ground level, so all of it are, ADA, handicap accessible. We have a private parking lot right next to the building, and then the drive is extra wide, going all the way out to the road. So they're parking on each side of the driveway there.
There's a building on the map. There's no one showing us.
Right,
That's,
Michael, this
Yes,
is
sir.
their home.
Yes, sir. And that's our house right there.
this,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
So the one in front of the 27 is the home? Or?
Yes.
Yeah, the barn is in the southwest corner.
Okay. So, I'm assuming that like, as of right now, you guys have been functioning sufficiently with the capacity that you have set in place. But now that there's a business license and now that this would have this zoning, you would be under more strict fire codes and all those other types of things, is that? But this is the first step to that. Okay.
So when we built it, a friend of mine is actually in charge of the state fire marshal's office. So he's
Okay, so you
so
got-
we stayed under the
Yeah.
square footage as far as the sprinkler system. So it's above 3,500 square foot. It's a sprinkler system. Now, we do have a fire extinguisher on site there. It's not long. But, we stayed under the square footage for fires.
When we say event bar, we also post, if anybody wants it, you know, like the Rotary, is coming out there to talk about today. We just kind of, when it morphed into what it morphed into,
Right.
we realized there wasn't a whole lot of places for people to have small events.
And we shut it down at 10 o'clock.
Yes,
So we
yeah,
tell
our
them-
curfew.
we tell them they have to be gone at the end. So that was we like our neighbors and our neighbors like us. So we didn't want much riffraff going on, so we tell them 10 o'clock, so.
And they get it for 3 days, so that's what keeps the time down, so.
Okay.
They have to be out by 10 on Friday night, setting up, and then they have to be out by 10 on Saturday for whatever event it is, and then they can come back Sunday to clean up.
Smart.
So that's how we kept the curfews so low, they don't have to stay and clean up that night.
So we don't plan on having multiple events over a weekend, like somebody wants to run it for a wedding, we cost that full-time jobs. So we let them have it for the whole weekend, because we don't want multiple events on the same weekend, because it's a lot of us. For sure.
Well, I'm,
You don't have kitchen, right?
No, sir.
And we don't allow
We
liquor.
didn't really want people
Okay.
cooking up there.
Yeah, we don't allow liquor.
Probably should ask for it.
I was about to say, we should have asked for the license, but I'm sure that's on the details of what you said on the. They gotta abide by all the other laws that they come up with for the zoning compliance.
Which it would follow, because I guess because if we did later, she knows more about it, than she actually followed.
Well, my friend is the head of ABC, so.
You guys.
Yeah.
You guys got this going on.
Well, I'm in law enforcement and he was, so like,
Okay.
you meet people, but I just happened to go to high school. And he worked with the other guys, so we just got lucky knowing people, so, yeah. So we don't allow liquor, liquor is hard to
Yeah.
regulate and it requires people to spend far more money on not only insurance, but, just buying it in the first place and then having to serve it and stuff like that. We just didn't want that kind of riffraff that liquor brings either, so.
And we do make people, when they haven't been out there, like first weddings and stuff like that, we make them $4 million insurance policy. They just go there, say,
Smart.
It's your first time doing this?
it is. Well, I'm a builder, so that's kind of why the building and all that, kind of fell in place, but yeah, this is our first time.
So it's on the barn, historic, I mean, is it older?
Yeah, so it's white metal siding on the barn, so black roof, then we did some wood doors and stain the doors, and on, we have 2 little rooms, one to get ready in, and then a bathroom, so we got some wood posts out there, we dressed it up a little nicer than the inside barn, we stamped the concrete on the floor, and then, we basically just painted the ceiling black, it's open to the trusses, and we put some, little lights,
The string light.
the string lights, yeah, all the way through, and then we put wood on the inside of the walls in there just for steps. Just for those.
Inside it's.
Just go find out.
Yes.
You'll find
Some
out
of y'all-
tomorrow. We got chandelier in there.
Yeah.
And the count compliant.
Yeah, it's all ground level.
It's
so
all,
there's no-
everywhere, there's no steps hidden.
George way enough there to get a wheelchair through.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. It has two 4-foot side doors. The front door is 14 foot wide and the back door is 10 foot wide.
Well, how long y'all been operating before you moved?
So my daughter got married last May,
Okay.
but last year it was just my daughter got married,
Friends and family,
my
basically.
friends got married, and my half sister got married. And then we've had 14 weddings this year.
But that's all we're shooting for, honestly. With
That's
full-time,
about, that's about where we want to be.
We don't want to be a full-time operation.
Ours, is usually fall. So most of the time, it's about September to the beginning of November. After November, it kind of gets too cold. But that's about where most of the fall. We'll have 1 or 2 fall in the springtime. But most of them are fall.
Of the 14 weddings, 11 of them are from September to.
Very busy.
Look at people, $40, at a time, whatever, hear people bringing for like an hour, it goes to Target.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We've had, well, just one.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah, she's done that there. But it's pretty out there. There's pretty views out there.
We really would like to be able to host the Charleston County High School prom. They came to me and asked.
They asked, so they hadn't said anything back, but
No.
we're letting them have it for free, so.
Yeah.
it's right there. In the road.
Yeah, but they just said that they normally just do it in the gym and they wanted something different this time.
Well, I mean, personally, I feel like you guys have been functioning and have been doing as well as you've been doing without ever causing a red flag from anyone else, you know, and I granted, it's just been family and friends and all that, and everything's been peaceful, but now that you're going through all the proper channels, you'll learn what needs to be done, to keep things peaceful anyway,
Oh,
so.
absolutely. You'll learn about me. If it got crazy, I shouted that.
Yeah.
I told all my
I mean,
neighbors.
you
that.
gotta
I
do
said,
some law enforcement.
oh, yeah, I told my neighbors that. I said, look, if this becomes a nuisance, I said, I'll shut it down. It'll be a shop for my building business. It'd just be a nice shop, but it would.
And I screen people, cause I'm the coordinator. I help people, and so I meet them first before we ever do anything, and I kind of gauge from there if it's smart, yeah.
Allow any of us to be there.
Like, that was sweet.
Most of the time, if people want liquor that badly, they just keep
But-
going, and I think, well, that was probably best anyway,
Yeah.
if that was the core part of their wedding, it probably is gonna get a little loud anyway.
Is that what the
So,
breaking point for?
if that was the breaking point, we have a lot of dry weddings, which we appreciate.
They're usually wild.
I have my little flash thing.
It's cold outside.
I think we have all the same comments on this one as you did over there.
Mhm. Just the addition of the major. Do you know how far that barn is from your rear and side property lines?
So on the, so the south side, it's about 50 foot. That's the closest, well, actually the south and west side, it's about 50 foot.
Okay.
Now we're about 700 foot off the road, off of Providence Road. And it's like 12 foot.
Okay.
Our closest neighbor back, which we become pretty good friends, he lives up on top of the hill back there, so he's probably 1,500 foot roughly, would be my guess.
Okay.
And they sit on the porch and listen to music, so. Which normally we can't hear it at our house.
And we're the closest there that we can hear.
We have to that all the construction setbacks. For the accessory structures.
And it's been,
They met all the setbacks.
it's been. We've been out there inspecting it, I guess.
It was inspected.
Sam did it when he was here.
Anything else? Suppose we need to motion. We'll start with the major home occupation. And,
Why would you?
Because that's an appeal versus a special exception.
Okay.
I'll need a motion to approve the major home occupation. Motion by Mark, second by Ron. Have a motion by Mark, second by Mr. Ron to approve the major home occupation. This is the way to continue operation. Any further discussion?
Just as a reminder for major home occupations, you'll need to come to the BZA every 3 years.
Yeah.
Continue to be the approval.
That's the longest we can approve for 3. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. So then we need a motion to approve the special exception for the wedding, or the,
Wedding venue?
it's not really a wedding venue. Just a wedding venue.
Event garden.
It's a big part.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Grace, second by Ms. Cicely. We have a motion and a second to approve the special exception for event barn. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great point.
Yeah, very much. Appreciate it. So, sorry, we done it a little.
You're
backwards.
Now we are, yes, sorry about that.
We appreciate you guys.
Let's meet you.
Any other discussion on the board? Don't expect to have any comments you'd like to make this time?
I think we might have a few more, because I don't think they're wedding dresses. Are you sure? I know, we've got this one down pat. But there may be some.
I don't think they actually have their license, like their business license and stuff like that yet, right?
Were they going to get their business?
They would have to, they get, that's what they applied
Are you
for.
talking the second?
The second is what triggered the term,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Because he is a contractor and he's also doing business in Charleston County. He's getting a business license here. He said, well, I'm here, can I do this? So it's like, by the way. Before we do that, you. That's what it's all about.
Well,
I'm
it's
here
not
on the county.
not exactly what it's all. You can't really need to go out.
No, not at this time, just continuing doing, training and updating, reviewing the permitting software, which will be going live very, very soon, and it's gonna be very nice. You'll be able to see zoning on maps and stuff like that.
Thank you on the Dollar Tree.
The Dollar Tree have several projects that they're finishing before they will come. They have their PNOC approval. And we should be having a Dollar Tree on site finished probably when comes. I'll apply if you come. Just check.
All right, I don't have any comments at this time, so, anything we can do.
I I do have something. Forgive me. Every year, BZA members will need to do their 4-hour trainings. I know some of you that have just started, also statement that they need to sign as well. I'll send you all that information out. Just as a reminder. Thank you.
If nothing else, I need a motion to adjourn. Now, makes a motion to adjourn. Second by Mark, we're adjourned.